Hey, I'm Cyclone. And with the new league, there have been many changes to the Atlas, the removal of compasses, the addition of Scarab, some replacing the compasses, some giving us entirely new functionalities, and this heavily impacts the endgame that we know. So this is a league of many testings, and a league of figuring out what is good, what isn't, and how the changes impact on the different mechanics. And of course, the first one I had to try out was Legion. Absolutely love Legion, I had a fun running it, but of course we need to also look at the profitability of it as we are softcore trade gamers. So, before we take a look at the actual strategy, there are a few things that I think are important to mention first, which are the changes that impact Legion. First of all, the Scarabs. There are 5 Legion Scarabs that we want to look at. There is a Legion Scarab, which we can use up to 4 of, that just give us an additional encounter. There is a Legion Scarab of Officers, which affect all Legion factions in each Legion. So each Legion has 2 factions. Each faction will have 5 additional rare enemies that have likely a reward. So this is per Legion 10 enemies with 5 Legions that we can now have in our map. That is 50 additional rares each map, making the Legion Scarab of Officers very powerful and actually considerably even a bit more powerful than the previous Legion Polished Scarab that just gave us an additional Warhorde. As for a quick math, we have the Surgeons that have a base chance for a reward, then an additional 50% chance for rewards on the tree, plus a 10% chance for having 3 rewards. So there's a high chance for Surgeons to have rewards, meaning that assuming because of averaging things out, let's say just we get like 3 rewards per 5 Surgeons, that already is better than 1 Warhorde that had 2 rewards guaranteed, and it gives us a rare enemy so we can get conversion, we get headhunter buffs, inspired learning buffs. It is overall a really powerful Scarab compared to the previous polished Legion Scarab. Then we have the Legion Scarab of Command giving us generals. We already didn't really want to use a Gilded Scarab before. The generals take additional time while giving emblems. Emblems aren't our main income, aren't our main focus. So it's not really that big of a thing. We don't really want to use this one. It is fairly common though, so if the emblems go up in value, considering using a command scarab might be more of our interest. Then we have the Legion Scarab of Sekema. There doesn't seem to be a nerf to the appearance of Maracas legions, so we don't really need this one either. We get a decent amount of Maracas just by running our legions each map. And finally, we have Legion Scarab of Eternal Conflict. I had 2 assumptions how this one is going to work. One was that this one results in just a buff to quantity and rarity to enemies as we kill them, which doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to, just like the Timeless Conflict, add rewards to enemies. So if you kill a Surgeon, there's a chance that the Surgeons get additional reward. From the few testaments I've seen it, I have seen after the Legion ended a lot of Surgeons with 3 rewards. So I think it just adds up to 3 rewards to a Surgeon, and that's about it. I could be wrong. I heavily take any additional information you have on this, or anybody has on this, but as far as I've tested, it is not worth it. If you want to test with this, I recommend reducing your Legion duration or not taking any additional duration nodes, as you don't want to spend 20 seconds on a Legion. There is a cap to how good this is, so you just take a build that has already great clear, you take like your 10 or to 12 second Legions, and then you kill as much in there as doable. So, the best Scarab setup that I've found and that I've been using is 3 Legion Scarabs and 1 Legion Scarab of Officers. This results in 3 Legions from the Scarabs, 1 from the map device which cost 5 chaos, and 1 from the Atlas tree. The next thing that we need to talk about with Legion are the nerfs or changes to stacked decks and div cards. We are still getting a decent amount of stacked decks just from running Legion. However, Diviner's Incubators got nerfed and only give 1 stacked deck. So when we clear Legion, we get like 1 to 2 stacked decks, and when we get a Diviner's Incubator, it always will give 1 stacked deck. Doesn't matter if it's an 83 or an 85 Diviner Incubators. So it is not that good anymore. which results in us still looting them. And I think it's still good to have, because once you don't run Legion, we run something else, we can still use those to get a bit of additional income. But while running Legion, I think we want to focus on ornates and alternatively use skittering when we run out of ornates. Now, skittering got buffed with the changes to Scarabs. There are now more Scarabs worth something, but it takes double the time to open compared to a Diviner's Incubator or an Ornate Incubator. So it's not that much additional gain if you take a look at it per maps, but it is a decent additional income. At least it replaces the Diviners nicely enough. I also recommend looting Kalgurin and Thaumaturge. Any incubators that haven't been used while running Legion can be used afterwards when running something else. That is also just a decent strategy, and then you have incubators on top that add a nice little bit. But yeah, that much for those two important things. With that out of the way, let's take a look at corpses, I think. I have looted quite a bit of corpses, so I have also looted corpses while running other things, and I'm not adding them to the profit of this strategy. Corpses are basically unrelated to Legion. This was mainly testing of the Legion league mechanic, and some notable drops in Scarabs will be added to it, but the corpses, they exist. They do add a decent chunk of profit. For example, I got, I think, one additional item. I got a mirror. I got 2 splits, which I know aren't that great. I got a bunch of other corpses like not consume, increased effect for adjacent ones, row effect, column effect, tier rating, scarcer mods, increased chance modifier. So I got a bunch of corpses. I don't know how much they're worth. If we utilize the bulk selling tool, I guess, as a kind of approach, we can... Where's my tabs? There. Corpse, meter, rating, coffin. Oh, it only takes 1 tab. And there we go. And meter, coffin. So approximately about 13 divines and corpses, which isn't too much, but it's not too little either. But yeah, so those exist as well. Finally, let's take a look at the spreadsheet at my more consistent drops and inconsistent drops, and on the Atlas tree. I will mention 2 Atlas trees in this video. The one on the spreadsheet is the one I have used. I went with Legion Exarch Atlas tree, and there are a few things that have adjusted from previous leagues. We can still use Singular Focus. Singular Focus does, as usual, block Guardian and Conqueror maps, because Conch and Elder Guardians can only drop if they roll dunes, and otherwise get consumed and converted to currency, and Shaper maps will always be converted to currency. However, T17 maps aren't affected by Singular Focus, and we can get T17s. I've gotten 18 fortresses and 100 maps, well, that is a decent rate of a little bit less than 1 in 5. The map sustain nodes, I only have picked up Shaping the Mountains, and I've got a heavy oversustain on our maps. It's a little bit better than 1.5 maps per map, and that is only including dunes. I've also gotten 64 toxic sewers, and not 64. I think about 70, 80 toxic sewers, so those also add nice little additional profit if we can sell them in bulk. And then we are picking up the Skittering Swarms, we are picking up Remarkable Relics and Amplified Artifacts. We are killing a lot of rare, so Amplified Artifacts with the other 2 nodes give us a good amount of Scarabs each Legion. We are getting like, I think, an average of 8 to 10 Scarab a map. And sometimes we get some of the more uncommon Scarabs, so that is really a nice pickup as well for Legion farming. We can combine that with mounting modifiers and chiseled perfection to get increased map effect, meaning we just get a bit more base drop, we get a bit more quant and rarity on our map, and we get a bit more pack size on our map. However, it is important to note, these make the map very hard. You get sometimes maps with like 75 more monster alive, 75% less crit damage taken, or just straight up what was the last modifier? I forgot the name. Oh yeah, 98 reduced the recovery rate, which is just insane. But I think once you have a Headhunter and you're utilizing a bow build or a build that is strong for Legion farming, you're gonna be fine. I just think that this is something you don't pick up early when just getting started with Legion. This is what you pick up when your build is strong enough. The next thing that I think is important to note are the blocking nodes. It doesn't seem that we can get above 100% chance for a League mechanic. So if we have 100% chance to spawn a Legion, we cannot get a second Legion randomly spawned. This just doesn't seem to work. So these blocking of the nodes can be used to block Scarabs that aren't worth it. If, for example, let's say breach Scarabs are worth nothing, we can block the breach nodes, but I used it to get a bit more random daily mirrors and smuggler stashes, which then resulted in a bit more blueprints in my maps, which I could sell, but I have for now just put them into my dump tab because this is additional content we just had on the side. This is a focus on Legion. Now, for the Scarab, something that is worth mentioning is, despite blocking, I still gotten a crazy amount of breach Scarabs. I have Scarab blocked, but I got a lot of Scarab of Splintering, a lot of breach Scarabs, and a lot of breach Scarab of Lordship, or a few, not comparable to the ones I gotten for Delirium and for Legion. So there's definitely some blocking happening, but it doesn't get fully blocked. I think what happens is that if Legion wants to give you Scarabs, it will give you Scarabs. And it doesn't care what you've blocked on your Atlas, but Scarabs that drop because of the Atlas Scarab nodes or just randomly dropped, those are still affected by the blocking. So these Scarab rewards Legion sometimes have can give you any Scarab, even the ones that you have blocked, and otherwise it is respecting what you have blocked. Then we are picking up almost all Legion nodes. We are not picking up the just Legion duration node, and we are not picking up face off. For the army chances, right now emblems are still worse enough, so we are picking up Marika's Legion chance and Templar Legion chance. If the emblem prices continue to drop, it is worth to just pick up Eternal Legion chance. It's the easiest Legion to do, and to drop the emblematic into 2 nodes leading up to it, as we are not going to be bothering with selling emblems once they go to like a 1 divine for 7 or something. 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is reasonable. Any less than that, and I don't think it is worth selling. And if they don't start selling, like if you just need to keep messaging people and nobody buys your emblems, then that also will result in just not picking emblems up anymore. Outside of that, there is Exarch influence. We can consider Ether. I get to that in a moment. But first I wanted to mention the new Necropolis modifiers. I have picked up Devout Pursuit and Imperial Race. Imperial Race is supposedly helping with getting All Flames and getting All Flame Embers and getting Corpses. So this is a nice pickup to just improve the chances for those. Devout Pursuit gives you a chance for devoted modifiers, which is a nice thing to have. So I like to have that one as well. Germinate Haunting, again to get additional corpses, and I've also picked up Decisive Souls to have chance for meta modifiers. As far as I understood, things that result in stuff like copy, split, increase the effect of columns of rows, those are meta modifiers, so this one should help with getting the ones that are worth a bit more, either for self-use or for selling. So this is the Atlas tree. Now, Eater of Worlds is an alternative. I have it here on the screen as an example. You save 2 points comparing to the Exarch tree for saving 2 travel nodes. And I think there is an argument to be done to grab Eater once you have enough Chisel, Alchemies, and Warlords for your mapping. Once you have enough of your mapping supply or you start buying 8 mod maps, I think it is worth to consider to just use the Ether influence and getting the chance for Scarab dupe, for currency dupe, and that should overall help with the profit quite a bit. But of course, this is right now theoretical, and you need to mitigate the downside of the Ethers. But yeah, that is the strategy so far. We are gonna be chisel and alking our maps. With the changes to how corrupted maps work, I don't see any reason to crop my maps. We could technically improve our chance of getting 8 mods, but there are many breaks, and I don't think for the Legion farming right now the implicit are worth anything. It changing to a random thing or a Vol Temple is not really what we want. We just would want to get more quant on the maps, and UNID'd was the best outcome for that, because that guaranteed that the mods revolt format will stay and we just get additional stuff. So that much for that. Now finally, let's take a look at the consistent and inconsistent profit. I have to say it is not looking that great for Legion, but it never looked on a baseline level that great. Legion always was sitting between, I would argue, about 5 divines consistent inconsistent profit, based if you run 5-minute maps. Now with the addition of 5 legions in our map instead of average of 4 legions, it does take a good amount of time. For me, it took between 2.5 to 3 minutes to run the map, and then about 2.5 minutes to loot the map, and my average time was most of the maps about 5 minutes, but sometimes went up to 6. So for the sake of replicability and trying to stay as realistic as possible, I'm going to assume 6 minute running time, which will tank the profit, but keep that in mind when looking at this. So, I've gotten 521 stacked decks, I've gotten 750 Chaos Orbs, not including the 500 that I put initially in, so I had 500 currency, 500 Chaos Orbs stashed in the stash that I have consumed for the map device cost. So this is fully 750 chaos dropped. Then there are 20 exalted orbs, 28 annulment orbs, and 23 divine orbs. Then 66 Templar and 55 Maracas emblems. For the spreadsheet, we are assuming the emblems selling on their own. Of course, when we actually sell them, we sell them in sets. It makes it a little bit more profitable. And I will be highlighting at some point now till I'm finished talking about the section. I need to find a good editing moment for showing you the final profit that I've made on the screen. But you will see it there then. I don't know exactly how much I've made yet, but I will be knowing once the video is done and when I have liquefied. And then we have gotten a decent chunk of scarabs. Now if we assume again TFT bulk selling tool, and we just took a look at the scarabs, it says there was about 31 divines. So if we go in here and we say this is 31, we assume 5.1k chaos and scarabs. Now for the notable drops, we can take a look here. I've noted it down. We've gotten 100 chaos in 2120 Frostbite. We've gotten 2 chaos for selling toxic sewers. We've gotten divines. 1 divine for a well-walled anathema. 3 divines for selling forbidden tomes, 4 divines for a +1 gold rum with max quantity, 4 divines for a 90% reservation abysses, so walling uniques can be very profitable, 1 divine for the Samurai's Eye, which is a Watcher's Eye div card. I was surprised that still drops, but I take it. 10 divines from a jewelry conversion, so from the devoted modifiers with the lantern, and 9 divines from a reliquish impatience with the maximum chaos res. So this is 19, 20, 28, 30, 34. With that is 30, almost 35. And then we have a few things that could maybe sell for a little bit. So let's assume 35 for now. We also gotten almost 4 divines with fortunates. So that is 39 divines in notable drops, which puts us to 6.4k chaos value. So this results in approximately 7.38 divines an hour. Now again, I haven't considered the chaos, I haven't considered much of my bulk selling for this. I have a bunch of bubblegum currency, I have a bunch of embers that I have not considered the GCPs, the instillings. I have not considered the bulk that I might be able to get from the emblems, but as a baseline right now I assume 7 divines profit. I expect it to go up to 10 once I sold everything, but again, you're gonna see it here in a moment if you haven't seen it already. Hey, selling Cyclone here. I have liquefied most. There's 1 stack of ember remaining. There are a few things that I didn't list remaining and 2 things that I did list, but they haven't sold, so I won't be including anything here. I have listed a few Scarabs that I think can sell based on TFT bulk tool. I took a look at it, what I can sell for a decent amount, and I tried to list those, but they haven't sold yet. And I don't want to wait, I want to finish this video up, and I also need to note that I don't know what to do next, so most of these Scarabs I don't actually want to sell. So I'm gonna make a conservative approach and say, like, out of this potentially 25 Divine Scarabs, I'm gonna be assuming that's 5 Divines, which is, I would say, conservative enough. This is like these 3 and then some other things. So with this, and assuming mine 930 chaos with a current rate of 165 chaos to a divine is 5.6 divines, this sets me up for approximately 93 divines profit. Now, so 106 total divines with 5 divines here, 5 divines from the Scarabs, and then we subtract the cost of like 13 divines for the Scarabs, for the map device, and for self-rolling my maps. So this puts us at about 9.3 divines profit with the Legion. Now, again, I could have made a bit more. If I would have sold more Scarabs, we would have looked like maybe at 10 to 11 divines profit. If I would have maybe run Ether, it could have been more, but all those are theoretical. So, with this, perfect, there's another trade coming in. With this, I'm going to send you back to the normal Cyclone. He's going to finish the video for you. Or not selling. He's going to finish the video with you. I wish you a nice day. But yeah, that has been it. I think Legion is still a decent strategy. If you enjoy Legion, can be a very good one. We always need to keep in mind that our enjoyment when playing the game will result in faster, or our lack of enjoyment will result in slower maps. So play something that you do enjoy, and it should be profitable enough that eventually you can farm up to whatever your goal is. All that being said, have a wonderful day. If there are any questions, as usual, comment section, Discord, or on DMing me on my Discord, or DMing me in a private message on Discord, or of course when I'm live streaming on Twitch. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye bye.